Hi, today we're going to do a belt on a Honda HRX 217. I want to show you the quickest way I remove the transmission belt on this HRX 217 Honda. As you can see, the clutch is going to need removed and the belt is buried in there. So what I would recommend doing, take the easy stuff off first, like the blade. Let's do that real quick. Put them in a tray or something so you don't lose them. Then I'd lay the blade off to the side somewhere because I'm going to sharpen it. Now, this is exposed a little bit. So what I would do now is remove the wheel. So we're gonna have to take off some of these covers. So wheel's removed, and I'll just set that just up here, out of the way. Got a couple washers up here. There's a 10 millimeter here. Grab a 10. Remove that. And then what I do is I grab either a large drill bit, something with some edges or something, because this actually locks into your cover here. So if you leave it in there, you'll see it's kind of like a dial pin. See how you pull it out? But this locks it together, so when you're trying to pull it this way, you can't because this pin is in the way. Another thing, you have to remove this from the inside of the bagger, and we'll do that here in a second. 10 millimeter on that too. So this has a nut on the other side. There's an arm that controls this opening and closing for the bagger or mulcher. If you look in the bagger here, you'll see deep in there, there's a nut on the left side here, right here. Kind of hard to show you, but it's right there. You can see it. So that's what we'll do. We'll remove that. If you don't remove this, you'll have a hard time figuring it out because you'll never get it off and you'll break something. And what I do is, like I said, put this on the magnet over there. I put the nut back on it, and it went right here. Move it over here, put it on your magnet. Now you have your notch outs here. Your engine's being held here and here, and you see how they cut it out? So you can leave this bolt in and this bolt on the right side. We're gonna remove two of them that hold the engine in place, because with taking the clutch off, there's a belt guard in here that blocks it from getting the belt off. So that's why we're gonna remove these bolts, because when we take this plate off, it's gonna open it up so we can actually get the belt off. And there's a belt keeper in here it's metal. Some people think they might be able to sneak the belt past it, but it goes all the way across. So you're gonna have to remove it. So there's no quick way to do that there. So let's go ahead and remove these bolts here. So our notch out, let's go ahead and remove our next one here. They just hold this mulching plate on. So as you can see, they're notched out. We take them off. And what will happen once we remove these bolts here, it'll kind of be ready to remove the whole panel here. So let's take a look. So we got all those holders off. Now, since we removed this on the other side at the beginning of the video here, it locks in still. Yeah, there we go. Then you just remove this, lay it off to the side. As you can see, it just stays here. Now, when you open and close on the other side for the bag or the mulcher, this opens and closes. But I like having mine right here, right where you take it off. It finally gave up that washer. It was kind of bent and stuck inside, so we'll put that on the magnet too so we don't lose it. I try to clean some of this grass out as I go. Okay, so our panel came off there. Another panel is going to come off eventually. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this one off, and then this will come off too. Just kind of wiggle it. So we're just getting this stuff out of the way. Now we're down to remove the pin right here. And you can just take a pair of needle nose or something and grab that. And now we don't want to smash it or anything, but we just want to kind of work it out of there. Lay it off to the side, put it in our tray. So a lot of people that's done this before is probably asking, well, why haven't you removed the clutch yet? It's because I like to take off all the plastics and everything. This will be kind of stuck. So you kind of pry it on both sides, but also remember, we have a 12 millimeter in here. There's one hiding. If you look very carefully, there it is right there. So take a 12 millimeter, stick it in there. That one's in there. Let's get some more power. Now we're not gonna put the impact on it or anything. We're gonna throw a hand ratchet on it. And then I have a little breaker bar here. There, you heard that? It was either the bolt breaking or it broke loose. Should be like a grade 8 or something. It's pretty strong bolt. I think it's gold, so that's why I always say grade 8 for all that stuff. Anytime it's strong. Stronger than a regular standard bolt, I say that. There we go. Then it'll spin a little bit on the other side. So what we want to do is kind of go on the other side with our hand, reach through the bagger here. There we go. There's our little nut right here. Now, I don't want to lose it, so I'll go in at the bagger and I'll pull it. Now there's a little spacer that's in here, kind of like the one we pulled out with the drill bit. Let's try not to lose that. But in the meantime, we got our bolt and our nut here, and I usually just put them together. Put them in a tray. And then, you know, now it's about time to take this clutch out. After we pour plastic here, we just kind of stick a screwdriver in, shake it loose. There it is. So we're opening things up. Now you need a 14 millimeter to loosen this up. I usually use an impact because the engine likes to spin if you use a hand ratchet. There you go. Now, you saw it probably spring out a little bit. Don't get scared. It's fine. This all presses back together as soon as you tighten it back up a little bit. But as it comes out, we'll drop that down. We'll take this out. I'm holding the camera for you guys here, so with my left hand, so you get a close look at all this stuff. Anyway, lay this off to the side, just out of the way. We'll take this off too. Just kind of wiggle it, lay it over, face first down. It's the same shape. It's like a cone shape, so it fits in there perfectly. Everything is off to the side. There is a little keeper here. Slide it out, take it out. I usually throw it in the top of my box, just so I don't lose it. And that's just basic hand tools, guys. So this job can be done with the very minimum. The only thing I did have was impact. So now you have a spring here. Some guys stick a screwdriver in here and go crazy. I usually just kind of pull it back. There you go. Pull it back until it comes off the shaft. And then I just spin it a little bit. Now there's some more slack in this spring here. Now I have a little hook pull that comes in handy. I can just hook it. That way it doesn't slip. There you go. And I just hooked it. Almost lost my mower, but you know, you're gonna have some trial and error along the way. Here's your spring. Lay your spring off to the side. Now your cable, you just want to kind of grab this and give it a little spin. Your cable will pop out, or you can fish it out with your hand. Now watch. This whole mechanism comes off. It wants to take the whole thing with it. Here we go. So I take it off with the pulley here. The pulley will come out of this too. But why take it out if we can just leave it in there right now? So it's together. So we'll lay that there. But it'll come out. You can slide your pulley on first, and then you can throw that mechanism on. But now we remove the belt. Here's your cable, it's nice and loose. Now we'll go to the rear of this and we'll pull the transmission forward. What I usually do is I get a light. There's a couple things going on in here. There's a spring back here, and then there's a cable that comes up. What I do is I usually work the transmission down, take that cable off right there. So push the transmission down and just work the cable forward, and then kind of, you know, slant it up a little bit. Now the transmission should fold down. There's our transmission right here. So our next step is to take the belt keeper off. And there's some on these, they have 2 bolts that hold the keeper on. On this one, we're gonna have to I'll remove the center bolt here. On other ones, there's a bolt here and a bolt here, and then you can move the keeper up a little bit. But this is a different style on this one, so let's get it. Remove this nut and take your pulley off. There you go. And it's a 2-piece pulley. Now we can take our belt off. There you go. So there's the belt. I promise you belt removal here. I'll do a reassembly just so you can see it. I could cut this video a lot shorter by just saying, hey, this is how you remove it, but I'll do a reassembly too. We'll put the belt back in and go from there. So now we'll take our new belt. I usually just squeeze it a little bit. fit it in here. And then put your half a pulley on. There you go. And then our nut. Kind of tighten it down. Let's take our 14 millimeter and make sure it's tight all the way. That's good. Now what we want to do is take this spring, make sure it fits in the little hole. There's a little hole back here. Now it's in perfectly. As we fold this down, it tightens up that transmission. And what we want to do is tilt your transmission down, lock your cable in, right there. So now you can kind of see that spring back there is working. The cable's in. So the rear is done. So we feed this belt to the front now. There we go. So the belt's going in, right in at the top here. Looking good. Remember, we had this cover. Let's try to cover this up. Stick it back in here because we're done. There we go. We're done messing around in there. And then we want to kind of look back here. I always want to make sure there's a cable, and then there's a guide, and I always try to make sure my cable's on the left side of that. It's hard to see, but on the left side there's a guide right up there, top left. Always trying to make sure my cable's following that guide right there. There we go. So now you can kind of see it. There's a guide top left and the cable follows it. Now we want to put in this little, almost like a dial pin thing. Put it in there so it locks in. Then we need our 10 millimeter bolt. Lock this in. Okay. Now we're gonna put in our pin. There we go. And then we want to fit in our bracket, remember? It was right here. And it kind of fits in right there. And then we also had this plate that went right here. Got enough room, see? Got enough shaft to fill this plate in. And now we want to kind of put our mulching cover in right here. So let's work on that. Before I get carried away, I think I like putting the bolts in. I'll have to remove them again, but I like doing it this way where I can work on this cover here and get it done. And then I'll take these back out in a minute. Let's see here. I'll temporarily put these bolts back in while I do the mulch panel, just to hold everything together. That way this doesn't come off and this is all locked in, because I want to get that cover on here and put that nut back through, and then do the 12 millimeter bolt too. Just get all that done and then go from there. Let's get our mulching plate, put it in here, and then we'll go into the bagger area and worry about how it fits and all that. There we go. So now we can go in the bagger area here, because we want to get that 10 millimeter on there. It's all for nothing if we don't get it. If we don't get it right, we won't be able to control that mechanism. And I already know we're going to need, remember, this bolt and this, yeah, you know what we're doing. So let's put that through. And then that washer came off earlier and I put it on the magnet. So now we have the washer and the nut here. And that goes through the bagging area. Oh, that sleeve I told you would fall out eventually, possibly. We kind of push that back in a little bit. We don't want to lose that. Okay. All right. Now let's get our washer on. Let's see here. 10 millimeter should come right through. Oh. Push that through. We got our washer and our nut. We go in here. Let me go ahead and let me put the washer and nut on, and then I'll show you. There it is in there. All we want to do is put our ratchet on it. Just tighten it up. And this is what controls this plate, opening and closing. If you remember, we took it all apart at the beginning. That 12 millimeter goes right here. It's actually sticking through. There you go, now it's flush. Because it's going to have a little square washer that fits in here and a nut. We'll knock it out. Let's do that next. So if you don't remember, we had a 12 millimeter right here in our nut. So we'll go in here. Let's take it apart. There you go. And if you see, we just banged on that. We'll fit this, we'll fit that in. Now we got to put the, let's put that washer thing on. It's right here. Almost forgot it. This is all trial and error. This is stuff you have to, you know, keep in mind when you're doing this. If you don't have anybody giving you all the answers. There it is. See, now when we tighten it up, it'll actually lock in place right there. So let's put our nut on this side. There you go. So it's locked in here. It's locked in up here. We got our mechanism all together right here. We got our thing there. Now you'll be able to see me operate this and open and close it by the handle. See? Open and closing it. So I have control over that now. Now our next step is to put the holders in so this doesn't come out. So we'll put the holders in, then we'll work on that clutch. Okay, so those engine bolts that I put in, that was just temporary to hold that stuff together. So I'm gonna take them out, just takes a second. There we go. Then you kind of want to match these up. I think that one goes there. Yeah, there we go. There's probably somebody out there thinking, I would have put that clutch in first. That's what I would have done. I'd have had that clutch buttoned up by now. Yeah, I would have had it all. I would have had it in there. Then you just kind of make sure these are all straight. so you don't strip them, then go back through. Now, we're on the clutch. Got our belt in there real nice. Now what we want to do is put this on. There we go. We'll put that cable in. It doesn't have to go in right this second, but I just do it, just lay it there. And then I have a spring here. Let me find this spring. There we go. Spring. Lock the spring in. The spring has to go up here. So let's get our little tool. There we go. I didn't skin my knuckles. I didn't hurt myself. Slipped around a little bit, but I got that. It's in the tower. The cable's in now. That spring tightened it up. See how tight that cable is now? And that's locked in. Now you want to make sure you got to put your keeper in now. And if this is off, you could take a flat screwdriver, real easy, and see how I moved it, or to the right. That way, if yours isn't lining up perfectly or something, don't freak out, because you can line it up again right there. And then the curved side goes towards the shaft. It locks in right there. Beautiful. Now we just gotta put this last piece of the clutch on and we're done. But our spring's in, our keeper's in, our cable, we're looking good. Okay. Now earlier we had that cone piece. We'll put it over to where the keeper is. Lock it in. Let's give it a little tap. There it is. That's locked in. You can clean it up however you want. And then the last part is this. Remember how it was kind of wanting to fall off on us? Then your blade bolts to this. So we put this on. It's hanging there. We grab our center bolt. Tighten it. As you tighten it, you'll see it'll suck it in. Now let's get our little impact and just give it a little bit of love until it tightens up. Now we're not gonna go crazy on it, but we're just gonna watch it suck it in. There it is. So that's it. The last step is putting the blade on. I'm gonna sharpen it, but we could start it and test it, and that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna flip it up, we're gonna start it, we're gonna see if the wheels move. Let's test these wheels. There you go. Put it out on the bench. Pretty strong. I hope this video helped. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.